is Las Vegas Vantage with your host, Rocky Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Rocky Dickerson with Realty One Group. This is Las Vegas Vantage. Now, here in Las Vegas Vantage, we do talk a little bit about the real estate in Las Vegas, but more importantly, we talk about the community and the people that make this such a great place to live in here in Las Vegas. Today, we have a very special guest with us, a guest that you have seen his work numerous times, I'm sure, in art galleries all around the world. A unique style that, in my opinion, takes the vices of adulthood, such as gambling and drinking and fast cars and exploring our romantic relationships, and expresses them in a playful and joyful manner using olives and grapes and strawberries and any number of manners. As you can see by these pictures going across your screen, it is quite a delightful piece of artwork that he does. And so what we want to do is we want to welcome today our very special guest, Michael Godard. Godard, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, everybody. How you doing, Rocky?
Great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you.
So I've done a little bit of research into your background, and I know that you kind of lived off and on in Las Vegas for different times, but you were also, was it Orange County in California? Is that right?
Oh, man, all over the place. I guess sort of grew up in San Bernardino first, and then later on moved to Orange County, and just popping all over the place. Went to a lot of different schools, and yeah, man, Cali's like second home.
And what I found interesting is you actually spent 12 years as a mechanical engineer.
That's the nerdy side of me. Yes, it's true. I did until the industry that I was in, which was the steel industry, it kind of tanked, and then I got laid off or fired, depends on who you talk to. But yeah, man, I love math. I've always loved math as much as I love art, and so that was kind of my thing, and I did that for a long time. I have very little recollection now of all the formulas I used to know, but there's a few of them.
So, I mean, talk about going from the left brain to the right brain. You definitely have made that transition.
Yeah, you know, I've always kind of been one of those people. It's still today. I still use the engineering in my paintings. For example, one of the most obvious thing is I print my signature. And that was from doing years of drafting. But more importantly, I like really clean work. Things have to make sense to me. I kind of approach things, I guess, scientifically. And in a lot of cases, I'll still implement math. You know, some things are things that other types of arts use, like photography will use, like the rule of thirds. And I still do those types of things. I still like to work with odd numbers rather than even. In other words, if you're a home decorator, they say it's better to plant 3 plants instead of 2. It's just more pleasing to the eye. So I got that whole nerdy side of it. And even in my crazy olive world, things still have to make sense to me. So yeah, man, it's kind of wild. Still use it though. Yeah.
That's great. So now, how was it that you got started on, as you call it, the olive world?
Well, it's very simple. I was living in Orange County in my car, actually. I had some bad times. And I had a friend of mine, it was his birthday, and he says, Goddard, I would love for you to paint something for me. And I go, what are you thinking? What you got in mind? He goes, you know me, every time we go out, I have a martini with 2 olives in it. And he goes, but you're never serious. So I want it to be something fun. And so I said, yeah, sure. So I took the back of a Thomas Kincaid calendar and added some arms and legs to the olive. And I just had a blast with it. And about a week and a half later, I'm in the middle of this painting, and my aunt decides she's going to come by my studio, which was actually, I think, my girlfriend's garage. But so she comes by and she says, what is this? And I go, oh, man, I got this vision of doing these olives, but they do the things that we do and this and that. She goes, well, I'm your aunt. I'm a wine drinker, and you've never painted anything for me. So after getting all that guilt, I decided to paint some grapes. It was called Nervous Grapes, and it was a bunch of grapes that were taking a sobriety test, right? Like walking a straight line. And I've just been having fun with it ever since. Yeah, and that was how it got started, actually. So
That's great. So now, is there like a particular process that goes through your mind? Do you have like an inspiration, or do you ever start with a blank canvas and get stuck? What's that process like for you?
Gosh, I mean, I take inspiration pretty much from everywhere. It could be something someone says that has a double meaning that I could make fun of. Sometimes I might be just sitting at dinner, staring at a glass, going, "Oh my gosh, I want to paint this." Some weird things like that. Mainly, I guess I'm sort of like Norman Rockwell. What I love to do is tell the story of you and me, and I do it through these fruit, which means I can get away with a lot. They're running around naked all the time, and so I can get away with a lot. But in the beginning, so there was just kind of the olives, and in my world, the olives have a pimento on their head, and the females strategically placed elsewhere. And then, but now that whole thing has really evolved. So now, like when you see two grapes, my grapes don't have sex. I'm sorry, rewind. My grapes don't have a gender. So it might be two males, two females, a male and a female. God loves everybody. Now, if you see a cork in the same painting as a grape, usually there's some sort of struggle going on because grapes and corks don't get along. The cork is the one that seals the fate of the entire family after they've been squished into wine. There's plenty of artists that are much, much better than me, but nobody paints a sexier strawberry than Michael Godard.
That is true. So, now more than just your artwork, which, by the way, is phenomenal. I've been following your artwork for over 15 years, I'm sure.
Nice.
But now you also have an affiliation with the Las Vegas Raiders. Is that right?
Yeah. So during COVID, I had approached the Raiders and I said, "Hey, listen, my name is Michael Godard. I'm a Las Vegas local artist. I'd love to work with you guys, for free, whatever." And they go, "We know who you are, Godard. What do you want? We all own your artwork." And so I just started doing projects for them. Said, "Consider me like the friend on the outside who I will give you honest advice. I'm not on the payroll, and that's that." So they started sending me a lot of work, and then eventually, if this is right before COVID. So then when COVID hit, right about that same time, that hadn't really hit, but they said, "Listen, we know you travel. We know you do. You work with the cruise lines. We're willing to work around your travel. Would you like to come and work with us and be the curator for the stadium?" I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And they said, "Well, basically we're building a stadium and you would be in charge of all the artwork inside and framing and signage and all kinds of things. And we have a budget for you to work with, this and that." So I jumped in thinking it was going to be something I could just do a couple of days a week. And boy, was I wrong. There was hundreds of thousands of square feet. And I went down the rabbit hole. I mean, literally, I would walk in and be taking a tour with my friend Tom Blanda, who was in charge of all the construction of the stadium. And he said, "Goddard, we're thinking about a mural right here with this on this wall." And I said, "Tom, there's no wall there. What are you talking about?" "Well, when the wall gets built, this is where." So I did everything with virtually because the stadium engineers shared with me. So I was able to walk through the stadium actually before it was built. But it was quite a task and quite an honor at the same time. And we'd go in, we'd plan a 50-foot mural or something, and then go in the next week and there's venting over it and signage over it. I'm like, "What's going on?" "Oh, sorry, we're still building." So it's kind of crazy, but I mean, at the same time, I figured it's that stadium's going to be around for hundreds of years. It's a chance for me to show off in my own state, which is awesome. And the other thing, Mark Davis, the owner, had asked me, he goes, "Goddard, I want to share with you my vision, see what you think." And he says, "I want to tell two stories. I want to tell the story of the Las Vegas Raiders and their rich history, and I want to tell the story of Las Vegas." So as far as subject matter goes, I hit the jackpot. We have the Thunderbirds. We have aliens out at Area 51. Our city was built by the mob. I mean, and you put all those things that sort of make Las Vegas and Nevada really sort of a rebel or a pirate. It fits right in line with what the Raiders are all about. So
exactly. And in fact, one of the drawings I believe that you did for that project was taking the Rat Pack era Frank Sinatra and putting him in a coaching headset for the Raiders.
I did. It was very hard not to share everything, but Mark Davis said, listen, we're not going to bring people to come to see the stadium until the stadium actually opens, which was quite honorable, I think. And one of the ideas that he had as well is to bring the community in. So I brought about 100 artists. Actually, I interviewed about 200 artists, but half of them are all crazy. They came in and I interviewed them and started putting a lot of artists to work as well. So again, falling back on that rich history, I thought, listen, if I was, say, born in Ireland and I was coming to visit Las Vegas, I'd want to see the Rat Pack. I'd want to see Elvis. So I put Elvis in a Raiders jersey and I put Marilyn Monroe as a Raiderette. And I got some pretty harsh criticism. I got to tell you, I almost quit. So this is what happened. So someone had snuck into the stadium and had taken a few pictures. And of course, they released it to the public. They weren't supposed to. And I wasn't sure if lawsuits are going to happen or whatever. But anyways, I got on a couple of these websites, and people were just trashing me. The football community was trashing me. And say, what does this guy know? He paints olives. What's he doing? Working on our stadium, and Elvis is cheesy. But I thought, listen, if you're from Scotland, you want to see Elvis. Like, that's a must. So I was really brokenhearted, and I wasn't used to. Raiders is a big corporation. So is the NFL, and so everything that I did had to be approved from legal team to community to planning, making sure that I wasn't going to cause any jams during halftime if people were reading about the city or whatever I had printed. So it's quite an ordeal, but I just thought, I'm sensitive. I'm an artist. And I told my wife, I said, I just can't do this. I can't do it. It's too much. As much as I'd love to do it, I'm just getting my head bashed in and I don't think I want to do it. She goes, okay, that's fine, honey. She goes, let me ask you one thing though. When you first came out with your olives, back in 2000 or whatever, what did the art critics think of you? I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding? You know the story. They hated me. Articles were coming out, the worst artists in the world. And, I said, they told me to, get away from the beach areas because I was painting gambling themes. And she goes, well, how'd that work out for you? I go, oh, I'm pretty blessed. She goes, listen, everyone hates something they don't understand at first if it scares them. She says, it's no different than trying to give our kids some broccoli. And they're like, what's that? I don't want that. That's yucky. You haven't even tried it yet. And so I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And now it's one of my proudest achievements ever. And just saying that I have that on my resume is awesome. Plus, those are the guys that used to pick on me in high school. Now I've drawn their portraits. They're nice to me now.
Well, Godard, there's something about your story that gives hope to those that are going through a bad season in their life. I mean, like you mentioned, you were a mechanical engineer, you got laid off, and all of a sudden you become this rock star of an artist because of it. Yeah. You also had a personal tragedy in your life where you lost your daughter to brain cancer. And now in your artwork, which is bringing happiness to so many people out there, my understanding is that there's not any of your artwork that gets sold where some of that money doesn't go to one charity or another right now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's very true. I just to sort of rephrase it. So at every event that is held where I'm selling my artwork, I try and have a charity. Most of the time I will pick a local charity. So let's say I'm I'm going to, I don't know, Missouri, and they're giving to the homeless. So I'll go to their charity first. If not, I have a number of go-tos for myself. St. Jude is one of them, which most everyone knows is a organization that takes on the financial responsibility. Also Ronald McDonald House, which provides housing, but also everything from the SPCA to Wounded Warriors, Dogs to Dog Tags. I just, I find I'm sort of struggling to get some good karma out there because I was a naughty boy when I was young. So, but I feel, I feel like Michael Jordan had told me something one time. He asked me to paint him as an olive, and he goes, Goddard, he goes, when you have an opportunity, if you're a public figure, when you have an opportunity, it's not an opportunity, it's an obligation. Because the world has been good to you, you need to give back. And I've, even when it was difficult, because for me, having lost my daughter, when I go visit terminal kids or I'm working with Make-A-Wish or things like that, Man, I tell you, man, it's gut wrenching. And most of the time, I will be honest with you, totally transparent. I don't want to go. It's too hard. I see my daughter's face and other kids, but at the end of the day, it's what you give, right? It's what you give. And that makes it. And every one of us, you and everyone listening or watching, at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're trying to find the purpose of our life. You want to feel like you made a difference somehow. So while my heart is beating and while the fire's still burning, man, I'm going to do what I can. So, and we do that in lots of different ways. And it's amazing, done all kinds of things. And, another thing I want to share is that, there's nothing special about me. I mean, so many people, those of you that are watching right now, could probably write a book on your life about the adventures of you, or a movie. I mean, it's crazy. And nobody's ever going to know that story unless you have an opportunity to share it. But no one certainly will ever walk in your shoes. And, most of us go through some type of drama. And I'm one of those people that, obviously, if I could change the outcome and still have my daughter here, I'd want that. I'd give up everything for that. But at the same time, I still feel blessed. In my case, because my daughter had a very slow going cancer, I had the chance to say goodbye. Now, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't fun. But I know of many parents who never even had that opportunity. A kid snatched away from them because of a car accident, a drunk driver, a kidnapping, a murder. I mean, so, I believe that we all have obstacles that are put in front of us in life. And it's kind of how we react to them and kind of, whether we end up with a chip on our soldier, or we, self-implode, or you get to a crossroads. And so for me, it's always been crystal clear that in my life, I've tried to always follow my moral compass going the right way, most of the time, and try and get back a little bit, man. And so I figured if I'm having an art show, everybody's having a good time, they're all spending money, let's do some good at the same time. And then hopefully, when I get to talk to St. Peter or whomever, it'll be like, Goddard, oh, we know you. You're lucky the last 10 years and 20 years of your life, you were good. I'm still trying to convince people that the art's worth more with me still alive. That's been difficult.
Well, hey, I know you've been in Vegas now about 20 years. And
yeah.
I got to imagine someone like yourself, you've got a lot of experiences here in this town. Sure. So I always like to ask an interesting question. What's been your favorite moment that's happened to you that could have only happened in Las Vegas?
Geez, there's a particular moment that comes to mind. I will tell you, because my father lived out here and my parents were divorced, my mom lived in California. Once I got a hold of gambling, I thought, oh man, this is the easy life. Now, I was about 17, 18 years old. I don't remember if I was 17 or 18. As a senior in high school. And I went down to Fremont Street. My dad had won some money the night before. I don't know how much, but he'd always come home with 30 hands, right? Because that's when we had the coins. And so, he was talking about how he hit something on a slot machine. So I had some money. I had about 150, maybe 175 bucks. And I went down to the Union Plaza, which is down at the very end of Fremont Street. And I went in there early in the morning. I was supposed to be at school. I spent pretty much the whole day there playing nickels. And you could imagine on the slot machine, I was playing for hours on this slot machine. And of course, not even old enough, to be in there. And finally, I got down to like my last quarter. I put the last 2-3 nickels in, and I'm like, I'm done. That's it, And I'm so disappointed. I couldn't believe I didn't hit a jackpot. And so I got to figure out how I'm going to get home because I don't have a car. And so I start, going to call some friends or find a payphone, right? We didn't have cell phones. Anyways, I'm standing about 10 feet away from this slot machine. I turn around, and this lady had sat down and hit the sevens. She hit the big jackpot. I'm like, oh my God, that's my machine. That's my machine. That's my money. Well, that lasted, I don't know, all of about maybe 30 seconds before two guys that were much bigger than I literally picked me up and threw me, just like at a casino, threw me onto the sidewalk. And I don't know what I was thinking. She must have been freaked out completely, right? Here's this kid with pimples on his face and, Oh my God. But that could only happen in Vegas. And you know what's funny? I can't imagine had I won, I never would have gotten anywhere anyway. Like I probably wasn't even 18, you know? So anyway, it's only in Vegas. You see it all here, you know, you see it all.
So how about the areas in Las Vegas, the places in Las Vegas, the activities in Las Vegas that aren't necessarily kept secret, but a lot of people don't know about them? What's your favorite Las Vegas secret?
Man, I'll tell you, there's people, tourists that come from all over the world to visit Red Rock. It's a place for families. It's a place for climbers, though. It is some beautiful, just majestic landscape there. I sometimes I'll hop in the car and just drive up there just to take in the scenery there. And I don't know, I think when most people think of Vegas, they think, oh, do they have grocery stores? Are there schools out in Vegas? You know, but we've got more than that now. We have Lake Mead, which is pretty much dried up. But Red Rock, I think, is not really a secret, but something a lot more people should take advantage of because it's absolutely breathtaking.
Sure. Well, how about favorite restaurant here in Las Vegas?
Oh man, I got a couple. I know you said you like I think you said in something you like the peppermill. I love the peppermill. You order an omelet, it's got like 13 eggs in it. But that aside, there's a place on Sahara that's called Capo's, and it is like an old Italian restaurant. You know, when you make your dinner reservation, you are sent a certain phrase that you have to say in order to be able to get in. I think ours was, take the gun, leave the cannolis, right? But you knock on the door, you see someone, okay, what's the password? But the food is outstanding and the atmosphere in there is just crazy good. And there's so much going on in Vegas, so many great places to eat. But that's always one of my favorites. It's kind of locals only know about it, I think, for the most part. And the ambiance is fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Godard, hey, I certainly appreciate your time. I know people love your artwork and more people want to see more of it and would like to learn more about you.
Sure. How
is it that they can connect with you and your company there?
Well, the easiest way for you to get a hold of me is through my social media. I do have staff that helps me with emails, but my Instagram is Godard's Crazy Life. It's 1D in the middle, by the way. And that's a great way, or Facebook or Twitter, official Godard. You can also visit my website at michaelgodard.com. But, if you want to see some artwork, there's a lot of great places out here. Caesars just opened, Park West Gallery's just opened a gallery up in Caesars, kind of like a half museum. So you see Godard and Picasso. That's kind of weird. And but also at the Rio, there's the Michael Godard Gallery. I think I have some work in the Venetian and in Planet Hollywood. And then if you happen to be on a cruise ship, you'll definitely see it because I'm on pretty much every cruise ship and spend the majority of my time traveling, doing like guest appearances. And but yeah, it's great. And lots of fun. But yeah, you see a little bit of it everywhere. Yeah.
That's great. Well, again, Godard, thank you so much for being with us here today.
My pleasure, Rocky. And everyone, happy Valentine's Day.
You bet. And thank you for watching today here on Las Vegas Vantage. As always, should you be looking to sell or buy real estate, I would love to give you superior service. Please give me a call, Rocky Dickerson, at 702-743-7625. Email Rocky at rockysalesvegas.com. And please subscribe to my video channel.